I hate ice water.
Welcome to Grumble Goat. My name is Matt Labodka, and this is a show about all the small things that drive me insane. Let's grumble.
I'm a fan of water. I love water. I like to stay hydrated. My rule of thumb, 2 pints of water first thing in the morning. Wakes your brain up. It's great. I love water. But there is absolutely no need to put ice in water. Cool water, I get it. Cool water is good. Room temperature water? Also good. Cold water? Great. I love cold water. But it doesn't need ice. If it's not cold, that's okay. Because it's water. It's the neutral thing. It's flavor zero. It's water. It's meant to hydrate you. There's nothing, you don't need to jazz it up, right? You don't have to bedazzle water. Because you know what bedazzled water is? It's soda. It's juice. It's water with things in it. Water with flavoring. Water with bubbles. Sure, that's a beverage. But if you just want water, it's just water. That's flavor zero. No surprises, no spectacle. That's just, my body needs this to survive. I'm going to lap up some water. You lead a horse to a creek. You put out a bowl of water for a dog. That's just hydration. That's just, boom, zap, getting the water in. That's why it's 0 calories. It's just neutral, nothing. That's what we need. We need some water. You put ice in the water, all of a sudden, like, you're dealing with things floating in the water. How are you going to chug a pint of water if there's ice floating in it? You want to put ice in your iced tea? Great. Put ice in your iced tea. There's appropriate things to put ice in. You put ice in a root beer. An ice-cold root beer? Oh, that is refreshing. That's as American as apple pie. Now, beer, on the other hand, you don't serve beer with ice. It's supposed to be served ice cold, but you don't put ice in beer. That's the water. Water is not meant to be enjoyed, per se. Water's just meant to be in there. You just get the water in there. Now, if you want to make ice, you put water in that, right? You put water in that, and then you put that in the freezer. Boom, you got ice. That's going to jazz up your Royal Crown Cola, and that's going to cool down your whiskey. That's when you put water in other things. You don't put water in water. You want ice? Make ice. You want water? Just drink some water. Put it in your body. Everybody's buying bottles of water. We're going to the Coke machines. Bottles of water are everywhere. You can't get away from bottled water. And people will drink the bottled water if it's room temperature, if it's ice cold. But as soon as they sit down at a restaurant and they see a glass without ice in it, they're like, well, can I get some ice for my water? Water is neutral. If you're going to make a glass of Tang, then yeah, add some ice cubes. Great. But if you're just drinking water, just drink the water, because I got to lubricate this thing. And ice is doing nothing but slowing that process down. And I hate my water being bogged down with ice. And that's the grumble.
Grumble, 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 grumble.
What?
Grumble, 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 grumble. What's got your goat?
For the latter half of the show, we'll bring in my better half, Veronique, for an unpretentious look and a segment we call
What's got your goat? I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me today.
Yes, thank you for joining me in the studio, Veronique.
Yes, Matt.
Yeah. It's the middle of April.
No, it's not. It just started.
Well, when this comes out, it's the middle of April.
It's the middle of April.
Have you gotten your taxes done?
Oh, I did my taxes.
You did your taxes?
You did my taxes.
I did your taxes.
We did my taxes together.
It's what time of the year it is. So I'm like,
tax time. Tax time. Did you do your taxes? Get ready.
I did my taxes.
I'm talking to the audience.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Did you?
I love that you're holding up the glass so you can hear the ice.
Down.
We got some sound effects, the ice in there. That's nice.
Oh my gosh, someone's in a grumbly mood today.
Well, it's Grumble Goat.
Did you do your taxes, everyone?
Did you do your taxes?
It's due at the end of the week.
Yeah, get your taxes in, everybody.
We did ours already.
And we only cried once yesterday.
Yes, but not about my taxes.
And it wasn't about taxes.
Winning.
Most of your taxes came from one source.
Very helpful.
Yeah, most of your taxes came from one W-2, so that was very helpful.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Not
you've had one job for a long time,
purpose.
which makes doing that job easier. But they change things over time. They change it so if you're drinking water at work, you have to put it in a clear container.
Yeah.
How weird is that?
It's just, if one person breaks the rules, we can't have nice things anymore.
Yeah.
Ah.
But you've been using quart containers.
I've been using quart containers.
You've been using the to-go containers to hold your water.
I wish I had it with me right now.
Oh, yeah, we could show the audience.
Can I get it?
Okay.
Anyway, well, I lost my water bottle.
Right.
And that inspired this. But my water bottle was purple anyway. So technically, I would have needed a new thing.
I didn't know you lost your water bottle. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't tell me you lost it. You were just showing me the quart container.
Well, that's because I'm hoping it comes back to me. And if I think something's lost, then it is.
Okay, I'm sorry you lost your water bottle.
Yeah.
But that's okay because you have a plethora of new ones.
Well, I have quart containers.
Yeah.
But you know what I said to myself? I said, I can't get a new water bottle because you have to prove to yourself that you can't just carry around a quart of water together. You have to drink the water.
Right. You have to drink the water. It's
So
very
at
important.
work, it's really helpful when I have this giant thing of water that I can just slam instead of getting little bits of water throughout the shift, which is probably better for you.
Well, it's important to stay hydrated.
I know.
Whatever gets you hydrated.
Quart container.
We have quart containers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quart container.
Uh-huh.
And I stabbed the top and I put a reusable straw in it and I wrote my name on it and I said, I brought this from home. Veronique's.
Right. And you decorated it.
And I decorated it.
Yeah.
And I've been using it ever since and
And
I
you
love it.
bedazzled it.
Yeah.
And yeah. It's very unique.
It's like really actually the best water bottle I've ever had.
And now it's not thermal, though.
It doesn't hold
Temperature.
no.
Right. Because it's just a to-go container.
It's just plastic.
It's just
And
basically like if you order like dim sum soup,
Yeah.
that's the container it comes
Yeah,
in the to-go container.
a quart container.
Yeah, a quart container.
Yeah.
But it's not thermal.
No.
So do you put how do you keep it cold? Do you put a bunch of ice in there?
It's just water. It doesn't need to be cold.
Oh. Do you prefer water room temperature or do you prefer water cool?
You know, people do prefer water warm as well as room temperature water. It's a silly request sometimes.
People want warm water.
Well, yeah, sometimes
Do they ask or like tepid?
hot water.
Hot
They ask
hot
for
water.
hot water.
Sure, sometimes people need hot water.
Yeah, they don't, but not for tea. They just want hot water with lemons.
Why do they want that?
It's good for your digestion and eating.
Is it?
Yeah.
You mean water is good for your digestion or hot water is good for your digestion?
I don't know the exact scientific study, but the lemon alkalizes.
Right, sure, yeah.
What's that? No, well, you're not helping me. How do
Well,
you
alkalize is the opposite of what lemon does. Lemon is an acid.
It is, but with water, and once it hits your body, it alkalizes. It balances out. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know the exact
Yeah,
science. but
I'm not sure about that, but okay. Speaking of things I don't understand.
okay. I just love that you said that. Things I don't understand.
Speaking of things I don't quite understand, people have told me that like when you're hot, you don't want to drink cold water. You want to drink hot water because somehow that triggers your body to cool off. And I'm like, absolutely not. Because if I drink a hot beverage, I feel hotter.
Right. You feel hotter, but then you start perspiring. You start sweating.
Right.
So that cools your body down.
Well, sure, but I'd rather cool myself from the inside than have sweat forming on the outside,
Yeah,
right?
but see so the extreme temperature is not good for you.
What do you mean?
Yeah, the extreme temperature of something super cold in a very hot body isn't as good for your stomach. It's not as good for your insides because it's like, it like tenses up and it's like, what's happening? I'm so hot.
Yeah.
And then I feel like what happens in your body is it just gets steamy instead.
Mhm. Oh,
you know?
steamy.
Yeah, like you drink it and it's cold, but then it's like steam.
Okay, so if I'm hot and I drink a cold beverage, it just starts evaporating inside me.
Yeah, that's what I think so.
You don't recommend drinking ice cold water.
No, but ice cold water is so delicious.
Oh, is it?
I like cold water.
Does it not taste the same as water?
It definitely tastes different.
Oh, what's it taste like?
Cold.
So you like ice cold water?
There's a crispness to the cold water that's very refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not someone who needs ice cold water. Like you don't need it in a restaurant. You don't need ice water in a restaurant. You're
Okay.
only going to be there for 2 hours.
Yeah. And what's the water for? You don't have to cool down. It's to wash down the food, right?
A
It's to
lot
help
of people
digestion, right?
don't even drink the water.
Right. They ask for ice water and then it sits there and they just drink their wine and eat their food.
Yeah.
But you don't put ice in your own little quart container.
I will put ice water in my quart container while I'm in the house.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Okay. You
I've
like
done
that
before.
crispness.
I like the crispness initially, but often I get distracted and it melts and it's fine.
melts.
But
But also, if you're keeping track of how much you're drinking and you put ice in there, you're no longer drinking a quart of water.
you are because it's going to melt.
Well, okay, if you
Yeah.
wait around that long.
It's the same amount of water now someone tricked me with this question before.
Someone tricked you with
yeah,
this.
they
How did they
tricked
get
me.
you?
They said,
What'd they say?
well, we were talking about when you have ice in the glass and you fill it up with water, when it melts, it doesn't fill up with more water. It stays the same.
Why would it fill up with more water?
Exactly.
Why would it do that?
I don't know.
What are you talking
I
about?
was like, Anyway, we came to the conclusion
Uh-huh.
that the same amount of water is in the cube. It's just frozen.
Oh, okay.
So that when it melts,
Why would somebody
doesn't
think
go
that
down
the
or
glass
up.
would go up with water?
could it go down?
Well, I can tell you And the
What?
reason I can tell you is how I got my nickname in grade school, according to the law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Ice is less dense than water.
Because you can crack it and it breaks. And if you try to crack water, it just goes bleh.
Cracking water will just, it goes blah.
Well,
or some people call that a splash.
Oh, a splash. Yeah. You can't splat it. You'd splat it.
Splat it.
Splat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, ice is less dense than water. You can tell because icebergs float, or ice in your glass will float, right? So ice is less dense than water, which means ice has less water in it than water has in it.
So it's lower, not higher. So then, so when the ice melts,
the glass
goes
right,
lower.
so when the ice melts, technically the level's going to go down a little bit, but you're not going to be able to see that difference with your naked eye.
So little.
So little.
Well, it doesn't float if it's not in water. It sits there.
Right. It doesn't float in air.
Well, it drops to the ground, or it would sit on the counter if you put it on something solid.
Yeah, it's not a balloon.
Right. So I think the assumption is, this is heavier, it's denser.
Oh my God. I realize that we don't deal with the transition between solid and liquid all the time. Ice is kind of the one place we deal with something being solid and then a liquid.
Oh, yes. The frozen things.
Yeah, so we don't deal with that transition a lot in our lives. So I guess people don't understand.
But ice in your water, you're going to lose more water than if you filled it up without ice, like you're saying, but just a little minutia amount.
I mean, yeah, you're going to end up with the same number of molecules of water, except you're not because there's also evaporation.
According to the law.
These are negligible. All right, so we like the crispness of ice water, but we don't always need ice water.
The Christmas of ice water?
Crispness.
Oh, I thought you said the Christmas.
The Christmas of ice water.
The Christmas of ice water.
That's what I call snow. Christmas of ice water.
See, we interact with it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, also, an alcoholic beverage is nice when it's a little chilled.
Now, cocktails, you put ice in a cocktail,
You gotta
right?
have ice for a cocktail.
I'm not going to have a Tom Collins with no ice in it.
No,
Are you
even
kidding
if
me?
it's served up, I want it shaken, so it's chilled.
Sure. I want to cool things down. Well, also, we're paying a premium price for cocktails.
We're paying a lot of money for cocktails.
Yeah, cocktails are
especially
expensive.
here.
Yeah. On the other hand, like when we serve wine, like people can get snobby about the temperature of wine.
People are very snobby about the temperature
Like
of wine.
red wine is supposed to be like 62 degrees.
Yeah.
If the room I'm in is 71 degrees, just give me 71 degree red wine.
Right,
That's fine.
right. It's a room
No, I feel
temperature
like
bottle.
bring it down a few degrees. I mean, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, red wine opens up when it's room temperature.
Okay.
The thing is, wine is like art, you know?
Yeah.
If you see it, you can tell if you like it or not.
It's
right?
aesthetically pleasing. The one thing that I love about art is that you can look at a piece of artwork and you can say, like the Renaissance period or portraits, you can say, that's really good. That's beautiful. I like that. You know?
No, it's easy because I'll walk through the Met and I'll be like, bad, good, bad. Ooh, that's pretty good. Bad. It's easy. Art is easy. Wine is the same thing. So sometimes people like their wine ice cold. I'm
modern art
I'm
is not
over
my
judging
thing.
people. Like I don't judge people if they want ice in their wine. I'm like, yeah, you go, girl. That's how you like it.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Why would you? I mean, okay, so here's the thing about ice in your wine.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I really got into the iced wine situation when I was living with my uncle and Aunt Debbie for the summer.
You sure did.
And Aunt Debbie.
You put it in your quart container. You filled it with ice.
I mean, I probably drank a quart of wine, but anyway, that's not the point of the story.
I totally get it.
And what I thought was strange is when people put ice in red wine. Then I just think you have health problems, and like you shouldn't be drinking.
What kind of health
alcohol.
problems do they happen?
Well, they need to water it down so much that it doesn't affect their heart or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I once met a person that drank too much alcohol, and he told me that his grandpa used to sit on the porch, and he used to drink Budweiser with ice in it. And when asked why, he would say, it's because my doctor says I need to drink more water.
Oh my gosh!
So he just had ice
Of course.
to the Budweiser. That was his
Humans-
solution.
Humans are incredible.
We're so intuitive.
Whoa, we will go to the depths of the planet to not actually do the one thing that we need to do to survive.
Exactly. Doctor's like, stop drinking. And he hears, you want me to add ice to my Budweiser?
It's already watered down.
All right. Sounds like a delicious solution, Doc.
I love that. What do you think was the first time that someone decided to put ice in their water?
That's an interesting question because, like,
It is.
where there naturally exists ice,
Exactly.
you don't want cold water.
Oh, no. I was going to say they discovered it first because there's snow.
Right,
Where
but
it's-
when there's snow, you don't want to ice your water.
So I guess they didn't discover it.
So, like, ice exists where it's cold, and where it's cold, you kind of want to drink hot water.
Well, I think it comes down to the first refrigerator.
I
Right?
think the first refrigerator was called an ice box.
Yes, I think so too.
And it's because they brought cubes of ice
Yeah.
and put it in the bottom of the box.
Yes.
And then that's what kept it cold.
Oh,
it
an
was
ice
not electric. They just put a big cube of ice in the ice box. And that's what kept everything cold.
Maybe at first.
Yeah, that's why it's called an ice box.
Oh, I love that, an ice box. So, but what did they put on the top of it? Was it like wood?
What?
Wait a minute. If they had an ice box, then they already invented ice. So how did
Right.
they make the ice? How did they
Like
get
long
it?
ago in like Michigan, the lake would freeze and they'd cut up the ice and send it across the Midwest to like power everybody's ice box.
Wow.
Yeah.
But how did they transport all that ice? So they needed a refrigerator. So no, it didn't come from an ice box. There was coils. They did a coil thing.
No, it wasn't coils.
No, I think they had a coil thing.
No, they literally used to go to a very cold place, chop a huge piece of ice, and just like travel on a boat toward a hot place.
I think there were corals that were involved at some point.
Corals?
Coils.
Coils?
Coils. So very much like I imagine the first air conditioner, which actually didn't look like anything like I thought it did.
No, it didn't.
I looked it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I think the first refrigerator looked like.
This has been an episode of Grumble Goat.
Thanks for listening.
I'm Matt Labodka.
I'm Veronique Hurley. Please subscribe.
I hate when people say please subscribe.
Grumble, grumble, grumble.
I've been using cork containers.
We did it. We've conquered another one of life's little annoyances. But the truth is, what I really hate is commercials. And I'll wager you do too. And that's why Grumble Goat is proudly commercial free. But to keep it that way, it takes the support of fellow grumblers like you. If you hate commercials, head on over to our Patreon page and see if becoming a Grumble Kid is right for you. And as always, don't forget to Grumble Goat responsibly and share with a friend.